Good morning, everybody online. I'd like to welcome you to, let's just do this. There we go. I'd like to welcome you to our first Internet Society South Africa chapter Gauteng Open Day. We are going to be doing these open days each and every year to start off the year so that we can get a feel from the members and the chapter members what projects they want to see running, what inputs they have. It's almost like a barometer for the middle of the year. When it comes down to Internet Society South Africa chapter, our AGM is always held in June. And then the executive that's in place, they serve from June of the previous year to June of this next year we're going in. So by Jan, we're almost at Jan, December at the midway mark of the term of the executive. And it's a good way to have a feel of what has been done in the previous 6 months, what needs, where we need to realign, and what needs to happen from the member side. But before we get into it, I'd like for us to do a round of introductions so that we know who's on the call. This call is being recorded, so it's gonna be shared with the other chapter members. So the outcomes and the suggestions you have will be noted in the upcoming executive meeting. Luckily, that's still in the month of January, so we're gonna table some of the things that come out of these sessions. Um, so to start things off, I'll start with myself. My name is Kodishang Tswane. I am the secretary for Internet Society South Africa chapter. I primarily deal with the communication stuff, the marketing, the branding, awareness, and some of the training stuff in dealing with stakeholders. In absentia, I would like to also recognize our chair lady, Togo Mia. She sends her regards, and maybe she might be able to still join the session a bit later. And then also another greeting that I wanted to extend was from Mr. William Starkey. He's our deputy president for the chapter. They too wanted to join the session. He's also based in Gauteng, but he might be on other meetings for the chapter. So yeah, so let me open up the floor. Maybe we can go along the line. We can start with Ignatius, and then the teacher can do her introductions, and then we can go to Matlodi Zondo, and we can go to Bofolo. Let's say, let me use Jennifer. We can go to Jennifer last. Go last for us. Sorry about that, Jennifer. Yeah, Ignatius, do you mind just doing an introduction for us so that we know who?
Um, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mtlatsi Ignatius Kibiti, and I am currently a student in YEM and also a student in some other courses that I would rather not mention on this platform at the moment. But yes, I'm just basically still learning my initials and my everything that requires me to be aware of the digital space. So yes, I'm quite new on this platform, and like I like learning a lot. So that's basically introduction for me. I'm a good learner. I'm a fast learner, and yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Over to Letitia.
Good day, all. My name is Letitia Rousseau. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager for VMAX Interactive Media, as well as an Internet Society member. I have also supplemented my learning journey by using Internet Society and the courses as well. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Matlodi Zondo, do you mind doing your introduction, please?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Ashodi Zondo. I'm the founding director of Community Parenting, which is a mental health center where we deal with mental health of children from 0 to 18 years. We equip parents and caregivers about emotional attachment, how to raise children in the emotional parenting way. We are based in Soweto, and I'm very happy to be here and really feel the warmth and charging can say experience of being a chapter member. I've learned a lot of things that I have learned. And my aspiration this year is to do research on how parents' behavior impacts digital things of the children. So I'm looking forward to getting support and help from the technology saving people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we'll move on to Jennifer.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Bokorowo Jennifer Sambogo. I'm currently the chapter lead for an organization called She Code Africa, whereby I'm basically advocating for more young girls and women to go up or go into fields of tech. By offering, technical resources as well as mentorship programs in order to help them either establish or, grow their careers in tech. But professionally, I am responsible for data analytics for Mercedes-Benz South Africa. And yeah, so I'm very excited to, attend my first event for the Internet Society. I'm looking forward to the experience and gaining quite a lot of knowledge so that I can be able to, basically put forward that information to other individuals that are coming from underrepresented communities that might not have access to certain information or opportunities. So basically, that is my goal with the reason why I'm attending this session and yeah, wanting to be part of this organization going forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And given time, don't worry, I'm going to catch on into how to properly pronounce your name. Apologies about that. And thank you for joining our session. Everybody else, thanks for making time for this session. Like I said, this session is going to be, it is being recorded. It's going to be shared on our YouTube channel. It's going to be shared to the Gauteng members. So also, I'd like to emphasize that this session is also for longer existing chapter members and new aspiring chapter members. And we would like to also find out what you'd like seeing happen in the chapter and developments. But in order for us to get there, I think maybe I'll share my screen so that we can walk you through the chapter, what has been happening, where are we now, what's happening with the funding, and what is the plan for Gauteng and what challenges we're facing. And maybe on another part, we can, after I do the introduction of the chapter and all the platforms that we have, maybe we can go back to the people attending to say that what do you want or want to see the chapter doing, or is there a project that you want the chapter to partner with or execute? And then we get those ideas to the front, and then after that we go back and we say, okay, what does the remainder of the 6 months left up until June look like for the chapter, and how we can get involved as a province of Gauteng? As we all know, in Gauteng, there's internet deserts, places where people still don't have internet, and if they do have internet, it's sparse connectivity, or they're using data, or the rates are too high, or they're not even using rich content on the internet because they're on data plans or some plans like the where you can only use WhatsApp or you can only use Facebook and stuff like that. So as the chapter in Gauteng, we do have our work cut out, but let me just start by sharing the screen and going through the chapter's ecosystem online. Please let me know if you can see the screen that I'm sharing. Okay. Yeah. So this is the chapter's website. So where, in order to get here, you can just go to www.internetsociety.co.za, and then of course. This is our landing page. Let me go back. I accidentally clicked on the banner for TechBridge. So TechBridge is one of the events that, more like the trainings and workshops that we were providing from November into January for educators in the ECD environment, like early childhood development environment, preschools, and some high schools. But it was more primarily targeted at educators and caregivers. So as you scroll down, this is our homepage. You'll get to see what we stand for, what we advocate for, which is making internet accessible, how we shape the internet by meetings like this. You know what I mean? God doesn't work with numbers. He works with the small amount of people that he has. I'm a stern believer of that. That all of you that are in this meeting today, you know, God wanted you to be here. So I believe to say that you can take out something from this meeting to help empower your own community within Gauteng, because Gauteng is very, very big. We're from different areas, and you know, we got our work cut out for ourselves. So I believe this meeting, you can take it upon yourself to take some of these resources out to people that need it the most. Over here, it was a highlight of the annual general meeting that happened on the 27th of June, 2024. Let me zoom in slightly more. Yeah, so this was our annual meeting that took place at Safe Hub. It also, we had a co-screening of the event at DUT, the Durban University of Technology. We had a Girl Hype also streaming for us in Western Cape. And of course, we had it in Jablani. And then, of course, we had things like the Girls in ICT Day, Universal Acceptance, and the South African Internet Governance Forum, where we were involved with working with the ZAIGF, which is the South African Internet Governance Forum, in March when they did something at UJ. It also, okay, so I'm sorry, are you still seeing the page I'm sharing with the website?
Yes.
Yes, you can see it. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Just want to check something. Sorry about that. I just had to check the systems to make sure that everybody's seeing the screen. For those that are not seeing the screen that I'm sharing, it is being recorded, and I'll make sure that I'll share the link to the video so you can see it again if you're having technical difficulties seeing the screen. Moving forward, the chapter has 1,033 members and counting. This number is growing by the day, so it's not really synced up to the membership portal, but it is growing by the day. So for last year, we did 15 events, meaning to say from June of 2024 till December, we did 15 events. We're targeting to do at least another 12, 16, 20 events before the next election, just to push this number up. These are the number of people that got connected from initiatives of the chapter, whether it be community networks, whether it be trainings, whether it be workshops, and so forth. And then, yeah, this is the bottom of the site. But more importantly, let me go to the executive members. so that you know who are the leaders in the chapter. So once again, you have Togo Mia, chairperson. She also runs an organization called Gal Hype, Women Who Code. She's based in the Western Cape. We've got Mr. William Starkey, our deputy president. He's been involved in the telecom and internet space from 97, probably way before that too. So he's our pillar when it comes down to organizational knowledge, but then also when it comes down to the internet industry in South Africa, he helps us navigate the way when it comes down to, how can I put it, to internet governance. And then you have myself, Godishang Twani. I serve as the secretary. I run a company called ViewMax Interactive Media that does a lot of consulting work for government departments like Department of Education, Gauteng Provincial Government, the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, and its subsidiaries, your CEDAs, your ISSASA, and so forth. So we do work for them. And then you have Mondli Mue. He's a technical administrator at Hashtag Design. He's based out in KZN. He's leading the charge in KZN for us. And then you have Sean Courtney, who is our previous chairperson for 2023 going into 2024. He works as an internet service provider and runs a very successful ISP company in the Western Cape. He also played a big role in building and supporting community networks across the country and doing advocacy work. We also have Dr. Mo Manda. He's a lecturer at VETS and very, very well-learned guy. He has a PhD in information systems. He always helps us with our academic and research and paperwork. And then we have Jody Daniels. He's also based in the Western Cape, professional and seasoned marketer, digital marketer, business person, strategist, and author. So yeah, this is our chapter. And then also, not forgetting we have Mr. Stembiso Tagaza, the founder of YEM, which is Youth Empowerment Movement. And they focus on educational programs, ICT training, coding, and robotics for our implementation and awareness. That's YEM and Stembiso Tagaza. And then we have Mr. Roland Geisler. He's an internet service provider, but specializing more on email, domains, and hosting. So he's based in the Western Cape. He's a new addition to our chapter. He got elected last year also. Same goes for Stembiso and Jody. So the other guys that you see here were re-elected. Oh, yes, and also Mondli was a newly elected officer into the chapter. So moving on from here.
I take care of your hair.
Hi, Mondli. I see you are joining us. Thank you very much for that. Let's just go to TechBridge, the current big program that is running. So TechBridge started on the 15th of November. It was launched here in Gauteng at Safe Hub, and then it was open to anybody who's an educator across the board. It doesn't matter where you are in the country because most of the training is delivered online. So basically, it's designed to help educators leverage on digital technology and solutions and help to upskill them to use intuitively designed programs like Google for education, like using things, basic computer literacy, helping them access Internet Society chapter courses about encryption, policy, and internet governance, and so forth, so that they can better safeguard the information of the learners. So, of course, this program, we couldn't do it alone. We had YEM as a partner, ViewMax, Gal Hype, Internet Society Foundation funded the program. Internet Society also gave guidance on it. We had Amani Good Parenting as one of the partners, and iVillage also partnering up with us. So links will be provided to all of this as a care package. So what I would suggest in the meantime, in the chat box, may you please type down your name and your email address so that at least we can send you some of these links on an email and the links to the recording once they're up so that you can at least have access to these resources. So TechBridge is a rolling program. The computer literacy courses are going to be up next week. The Beginner's Guide to Domain Names offered by FN Malembo is already up. The Google for Education courses are already up. The Internet Society learning courses are up, and the rest are going to be plugged in as the course is going. So on average, 2 courses are going to be switched on each and every week up until we get to the end of Jan. But that closing date for the Tech Bridge in January is not a hard closing date, meaning to say the online learning can continue because we are aware that the training programs are so vast and so diverse. It's almost impossible to ask people to finish it in 3 months. But then these 3 months, they have access to tutors and educators and work groups to ask questions. But after that, it will be self-paced learning with other learners in their own community to ask questions. But we will be having moderators and course leaders jumping in and out to answer questions. So yeah, that concludes a bit on. You can always feel free to go through our website, find out about becoming a member, and explore other pages of the website. Our membership program is very, very simple. You click one button and you can apply for membership, and you select the South Africa chapter, and you should be good to go. But then, where can you find us? We are on Facebook. You can find us, and there we go. Facebook being Facebook. You can find us on Facebook. So our username is Internet South Africa on Facebook. You can find us there. We are also on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find us under the user handle, Internet SA92. That's Internet SA92. And we are also on YouTube. Our handle there is ISSAC92. So you can get to see other engagements, trainings, and meetings that we had over there. And then, before I carry on into the actual annual report, is there any questions on the floor? Or can I just carry on? Okay, let me carry on. If you guys are good. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. Feel free to raise your hand. Okay, I see something on the chat. Is specific to Gauteng. Okay, so there's a question here from Jennifer asking the 1,033 members. The Internet Society South Africa chapter is very interesting. Our membership is open globally, meaning to say we've got members from SADC, we've got members from Egypt, we've got members from New York, America, China, you name it. Our membership is global. The bulk of that 1,033 members, you could say up to 60% are South African. The rest, the other 40%, it's international people and people across. So as a South African chapter, we try our best to lead the conversation to be trailblazers for the African continent. We collaborate a lot with other chapters in Africa. We collaborate with the Lesotho chapter, the Botswana chapter, the Zimbabwe chapter, chapters from Egypt and so forth. Across the African continent, we collaborate with other chapters. So that number you're seeing there, it's 60% South African and 40% being people from abroad or neighboring countries. Please don't forget, guys, just put in your name and email address. So I'll lead the charge also by adding mine. Other email, there you go. So that we can provide all these information to you in a timeless manner after this meeting. So back to onto the presentation. So just do this and use the Zoom from here. Good. Plus. There we go. So this is our report from Jan to December and the activities that we did. So basically, it has an overview of the chapter. This report will be shared to you on email once you can put in your contact information there. But in a nutshell, it goes through, this report will be going through all the events we did from January 2024 till December. It also has a highlight of the executive members for the chapter. And then how this report reads is that you get the name of the project and when it was executed and the location and the number of participants. So this will be shared with you guys. Once you type in the chat your email address, we will definitely send it out to you so that you can read it. And it has hyperlinks to like posters and YouTube videos from these separate events. This one was a good one. We got to start the year off on a good note, thanks to the previous chairperson and the previous executive setting it up for us to work with ZAIGF in February 29 until the 1st of March. We had the Internet Governance Forum that took place at Johannesburg University. And then after that, it was followed up by Universal Acceptance Day. So also, when you are seeing these events, I would like you in the back of your mind to think of what other engagements and events that we can do as a chapter that you feel can benefit the community that you are in or you are serving. So once I'm done with this, I will open up the floor again to get ideas and suggestions from you guys. So, but nonetheless, this is Universal Acceptance Day, where the theme was celebrating linguistic diversity online, because when you talk about preservation of languages and our culture, we also have to look at how that translates online and how that gets treated online. We were lucky at this event, we had Mark Elkins, which is one of the ambassadors for Universal Acceptance here in South Africa as a speaker. That video is available on YouTube for you to engage with and watch if you want to find out more about it. And then followed up, we had the Girls in ICT Day workshop in Stellenbosch. It was in-person participation. Basically, we were working with a school and helping them out with in Kayamandi, I think Kayamandi Hoodbay. We were helping them out with courses for young learners and digital introduction courses for the schools. And then moving on from that, in May 27th up until July 31, we're doing the Designing and Deploying Community Networks course, the DDCN course. This was primarily online, but it had an in-person component during the Youth Expo of 2024 in Soweto, Jabulani, where from the 17th to the 21st, people were coming in person to do things where it's either they lacked access to computers or internet. Some of them came to also interact directly with the tutors that we had. We had 115 participants that did that course. And even though the completion rate was not as good, we are happy to say that at least there was interest. And we're hoping to say in 2025, we might improve how this course is implemented from learning on what we did there. During the same time, we had the National School on Internet Governance online course. Now, this course, we did it in June so that in October, when the National School on Internet Governance takes place from the government side, people already have knowledge and learning to say what is internet governance. And then the course was in person and online, and it also started from the 10th of June until the 31st of July. So the listing for it you can find on the Youth Expo website under School of Internet Governance 2024. After that, we did something for during Women's Month. We did the Women's Digital Empowerment Expo in the Western Cape, again in Karamandi, Western Cape. And then after that came the actual National School of Internet Governance on the 1st to the 3rd of October 2024. And we had 157 participants for that event. And we got to bus young people from Soweto to Sandton to be able to engage in the event. And we had multiple remote viewings in KZN, in Western Cape, and in Gauteng again for people that that couldn't make it to Johannesburg, Sandton to the event. We provided remote participation hubs for them. Again, that one you can find the information on their website, and I'll gladly provide videos from YouTube about that event. And then after that, on the 21st of October, we had our Global Encryption Day event, which was organized by our team in KZN. Thank you, Mondli, for that. And we had 4 speakers. So we had speakers from the chapter. We had FN Malembo from Mycosa, Biz Farm Incubation. We had speakers from them. And on DUT side, I'm not very sure who was there, but I guess once you check out the YouTube video, you'll get to see the guys that were there. But basically, that event was covering email encryption, domain name encryption and security, and AI interventions around that, business incubation, and chapter membership. So on site, we had 35 participants, but online, it was averaging, I think, 50, 60 participants online. So that was for a Global Encryption Day. Moving on from that, on the 30th, we had the Zribecom Agriculture and Business Expo, where we were invited to speak about community networks and farmers. So this is the event. It was held in a hall in Zribecom, that's in the West Rand municipal area, Rand West, sorry, local municipality. So most of the farmers wanted to know how community networks are set up and how they can be used for security and economic means by being able to sell their produce online. So it was a mixed group of audience of young people, business people, farmers, and civil society groups that was at the event. And then lastly, it sounds like we did a lot of events in 2024, but lastly, we did the Tech Bridge that started at the 15th of November, and it's an ongoing program. And of course, the program is running in Gauteng, Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal. And resources for that, I showed you the link for Tech Bridge. So yeah, I think the last thing I can show you from this report is to say what we are planning. We are planning an ISP training collaboration with GirlHype, where we will be training ISP service providers and providing women with access to this training and technology, and helping them to become ISPs and join this growing telecommunications industry, and enabling them to build robust ecosystems in their own communities. So that's the internet service provider training that we will be collaborating with GirlHype with. And then after that, we are going to be building a community network in KwaZulu-Natal. We are still identifying the areas, but it seems like we might be doing something near Nkandla. We might be doing something near the township areas in Durban. Mondli, maybe when he gets a chance to speak, he might walk us through maybe how they might go about identifying areas for that community network. And then we'll be doing webinars similar to what we're doing now, partnering with UMax Interactive Media for computer literacy, where we'll invite stakeholders from Google Education, Department of Basic Education, and NYDA, and computer networks discussions where we will be having members from ISPA, MIRO, and WAPA. And then the cybersecurity talks where we will be having people from the DCDT, the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, and the Information Regulator. And then the online presence seminar will be, webinar will be the last one, where we'll be working with the South African Domain Name Authority, the South African Registry Consortium, and MICT CETA. And then lastly, but not least, we'll be doing a community networks research collaboration with iVillage, where we'll be looking into community networks, their sustainability, their impact, and how communities can better sustain these networks once they are funded by the chapter. So I'll stop there. And then for those who just joined in late, Mondli Overleaf softwares, if you don't mind just giving us a quick intro so that I can also get you into my minutes and the rest of the audience can know who you are.
Good morning. Thank you, Horishan. Welcome to all of you. Yes, my name is Mondli Mungwe. I'm currently based in Durban, so just working with Internet Society as a chapter member. Also, yeah, looking at projects that can help strengthen the internet, in South Africa as well as the chapter. Yeah, we've been doing amazing work with DUT, where we've established a relationship concerning projects that you've done as Internet South Africa, from encryption to some of the projects that Khorishan has mentioned. So this year we are looking at strengthening our footprint in different school areas, rural areas, as well as in the townships, so that we can connect the unconnected and do projects that are more aligned with the internet society globally. Yeah, I think also I will share my email as well on the site for those who are looking to collaborate as well and work with us. As we've seen on the website itself, where we are in terms of project and what we're planning to do, we are looking for as much needed support as well. And yeah, we'll continue to just build up on what we've been doing. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, Horishan. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mondli. I'm sorry, whoever's joining from Overleaf Softwares, if you don't mind renaming yourself so that we can see your name also, and just jumping in and doing an introduction. Thank you.
Good morning, guys. So in my holidays, my name is Liwano Matsukila. I don't know where to rename the name, see what my name is. Yeah, I got invited and I was like, let me check it out. I would like to be part of the community. So Overleaf Softwares is my company. We do software engineering and IT consulting. Still a startup. We've partnered with Microsoft and AWS. So there's still so much things to do. So being part of this community as well, I see that we can contribute and see where I can also, put my time and see what we can make best out of, collaboration and joining this partner, this community. That's me. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for joining. And I will make sure that we share the links to the membership application. And if you don't mind, just making sure that your email is in the chat so that we can send this information to you, just your name, send him an email so that we can send you this information. But welcome. But just to be on the safe side, let me just plug the membership link into the chat. And then from there, you can work your way and navigate around the website. So, but then very, very simple. One, that the first link will take you to the membership page so you can read about why to become a member, benefits, and what actually happens. But then once you are sold on joining us, the second link will send you straight to the membership application form where you can just put in your details and then select Internet the South Africa chapter, and then you'll be part of our members. So while we're on the membership thing, I just wanted to let you all know, when you're a new member, you are eligible to vote or stand for the executive only after 6 months. So this is part of our constitution, and I think I'll link you guys to that so that you know the real mechanics behind the chapter. I think when you read the constitution, it's very simple. You'll be able to find out more opportunities that I couldn't unpack in this time that we are together here on this call. So yeah, with what I said, can I go around the room one more time to find out, to say, is it with what I shared regarding the chapter and what we actually do, so that let me just also reiterate on what we do. Our mandate is to connect the unconnected. Our mandate is to do internet advocacy work. Our mandate is to educate people on internet governance. Our mandate is to also engage on behalf of civil society and regular community members with the government and structures that deal with internet. Also, our mandate is to provide learning opportunities for people to empower themselves, to protect themselves, and to be rounded off cyber citizens on the global internet, so that, our people you don't just provide internet connectivity and people are vulnerable to cyber attacks or hacks or digital fraud schemes that are out there. So that's what the chapter generally does. So I want to open up the floor again to find out from you guys who said it. Within the communities where you stay, is there a gap that you might be thinking of where the chapter can come in and do programs, or was there already a program that you had in mind that the chapter needs to do, or are there sections that you feel that as a Gauteng chapter we need to improve? For instance, uh, I can start off with myself to lead and give a kind of a demo of what I'm talking about. You got communities where you've got Vomatel and you've got internet that is connected, but not everybody is hooked up to it because the base package is 390 rands for 20 megabytes download and 10 megabytes upload. Some families can afford it, some can't. So you get other people that also need to access the internet for education and other purposes, and they find themselves having to go to libraries or go to clinics and stand by that wall with their phone and whatnot. So from my side, I was hoping to say that we could identify communities inside of Gauteng where there is no internet access, or the internet access is lacking and the resources are lacking, for where we can at least help to empower a couple of schools and a couple of ECDs and a couple of churches to make sure that at least they are connected and they provide hotspots for the communities, because it's very hard to, as a chapter, to function as an internet service provider, but we could provide affordable internet access to organizations like schools, crutches, and churches and clinics and so forth, but then without stepping on what government is doing, because government is already running the SA Connect program. You've got government, state-owned entities like Broadband in Franco. You've got government arms like ISSAC, making sure that people have universal access to the internet in South Africa. But then as a chapter, we just want to identify those that fall between the cracks. They're those that are not covered by Connect SA. They're not covered by Broadband in Franco. They're not covered by USASA. You know what I mean? Nobody's thinking about them, whether it be in the Val area, whether it be some patches in Soweto, you know what I mean? I don't know. But then that's why we're having this meeting. So yeah, I'll open it up to the floor again for suggestions, comments, or even if you have comments on how we can better our communication as the chapter, as someone who's based in Gauteng. We would like to hear that so that we can improve. The floor is open to anyone. Feel free to unmute.
Hi everybody again. This is Mashodi Zondo from Amani Good Parenting. Thank you, Kodisham, for the brief that you've given us. After December, some of the things we forget. So thanks for the recap. With ourselves, the Amani Good Parenting, really our vision is to really raise societies which are having a strong family matrix, and the children grow up to be global citizens, who can function and help develop our beautiful country.
I'm
So
sorry,
as a
Matladi, do you mind just speaking closer to the mic because your audio is very low?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's much better. If you don't mind starting over.
No, it's okay. My name is Masudi Zondo from Amani Good Parenting. We're a mental health center. We deal with children from 0 to 18 years. However, the past 2 years we've been laser focused on early child development practitioners and the centers. The aim is that we say let's catch them while they're young. What is happening is we've adopted 4 crashes in Soweto, whereby we also introduce them to Czech Bridge. They are the ones that we started with them in November. We've got ECD practitioners who have registered to join the program in January. They're very eager to. And this is going to assist us, because what I've observed is that our ECDs, when coming to keeping their records, preparing programs for the children, connecting what people are doing globally, they're very much delayed. Last year, I attended 4 graduation ceremonies, for the grade R's. It was like I was in the same crash, but 4 times. Like it's so much duplication, creativity is not there, the kids are not really stimulated. So if you take that child from Soweto and send them to St. What in Sanchin, that child's gonna struggle. So what as Amani Good Parenting would like to do is like have our children from ECD level know how to navigate the digital world. Have our teachers being equipped so that they spend less time doing administration, have more time with their children, their clients teaching. So as Amani Good Parenting, we come there with a mental health aspect of using digital tools. So in one of our year planners, like I would like to have a research done on how does how interactive tools and games that can be taught online, teaching children how to be safe on the internet while they're still young. Because now we see them, they only see the internet as social media, whatever, then they get involved in things which are very much not age appropriate. And also teaching the very parents of how their behavior impacts how their habits on online habits impact the behavior of the children in the long run. So we are very much happy that we are in this together, and would really like the chapter to assist us in doing this qualitative study research of checking how the digital world impacts the ECD practitioners, the learners, and the parents. So that is what we'd like to do. But I'd like to iterate what Godishang has just said, that we can have all these dreams, but if our people don't have connectivity, that's going to be a challenge. So most of our crashes struggle with connectivity. They don't have, let alone of having tablets to work on, but they don't have connectivity. So we are also trying to incubate these crashes, that when they can start doing the community thing, that maybe their crashes can be a place where the community can come and connect, and also they'll be able to see that they're also benefiting and taking care of their environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. And I think we will have to take those comments into this very next meeting we're going into, because after we do this round of comments we're doing, I'm going to show you guys our funding areas as the chapter, and we need to motivate for them, because I believe that the kids are our foundation moving forward. So there was a hand by Jennifer, so I'm going to open the floor up to her.
Thank you so much, Shang. I'm very, honestly, very impressed with the work that you guys are doing as a chapter in order to basically, digitalize, communities. But however, there's just one thing. I think that it's something that you also alluded to in your presentation. I just want to understand in terms of, because I'm just looking at the participation for today's session, right? And this is basically just an additional question from the previous question that I asked in terms of how many chapter members they are within the South African community. And you did mention that there's a 60-40 split in terms of 60% of the members are within the South African region. So the one thing I just want to additionally understand is that in terms of communication to chapter members, how does that work? How do you keep chapter members abreast with, certain events that are happening within the chapter to ensure that chapter members are just not sort of like a tick box, but are active members within the community? Because I think that is quite important, because if you join this chapter, you're basically advocating, becoming an advocate, for, communities, like you said, that are the outliers in terms of getting these type of resources in terms of the community. So the one major thing, because I just recently also became a member, and my expectation is that there's certain things that I would be made aware of either via email, so I just wanted to understand, in terms of the communication strategy in terms of members within the community. How do we then better improve upon that, such that when you do have new members, you keep them engaged, interested, you ensure that they are aware of each and every single thing in terms of the mission, vision of the different of the chapter. And the one thing I also, in addition to that, I just also wanted to ask, right? It looks like in terms of participation, there's participation within Gauteng, the Western Cape, and KwaZulu-Natal, right? And I know part of what your other mandates is also with regards to internet governance. And I know there's sort of, different forums where you would want community engagement. And how do you ensure that there is engagement across the board in terms of there's not only engagement within KZN, because there is representation from the Internet Society or IGF, or how do you ensure engagement? Because one thing with regards to myself, right, as mentioned initially, I am part of an organization called She Code from a volunteer perspective, where I want to get more young girls interested in tech, right? And initially, they wanted me to choose Pretoria as a chapter, but I just thought there's quite a lot of things that are happening within Pretoria in terms of, there's AB4IR, there's quite a lot of organizations, right? And then I just thought, when I look at certain communities, for instance, when I look at even in Limpopo, I chose a location where I know there's nothing that is actually being done. So then, how do you ensure, for instance, in communities like Bembe in Limpopo, or in Libuahomo in Limpopo as well, how do you ensure engagement, and are there representation within the other provinces within South Africa that form part of the Internet Society as a whole? Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for those. And yeah, you feel free to jump in if I forgot one or an aspect that you want me to clarify. So, in regards to the chapter and communication, so there's the AMS platform, which is the newsletter platform where chapter members get emails. So during the course of last year, our chair lady was doing news blasts every Friday, condensing everything that happens in the week and the week to come. And that was sent via email. And then I came up with an initiative to say we need WhatsApp groups for members. So I opened up a WhatsApp group for Western Cape, Gauteng, and KZN. Because that's where we currently had reach. So we had now the newsletter email that went out on Fridays, and we had the WhatsApp group that was more active and conversational based. And then, like earlier I shared, we used the website for communication. We used Facebook, X, YouTube, as communication platforms. And then we have partners and stakeholders that also help amplify our message, like the Youth Expo, YEM, ViewMax, Amani Good Parenting, iVillage. So as we garner partners to come in, like the South African Engineering Council from Williams side, and the ISP guys from WAPA and ISPA and our partners in ZETNA, they help push the message of the chapter even further. So also, when it comes down to the provinces that we work with, we were limited to the executive members because it's very hard to, because we are a voluntary association, meaning to say we're not really an NGO. We are an association of members that came together because we believe in a common cause. So we are a voluntary association, so our executive members don't get paid. Our members, whatever we do, are volunteering our time and efforts to make sure that these things happen. But then we are lucky enough to have Internet Society Foundation funding these initiatives and projects and activities. So, for instance, you mentioned Limpopo. In Limpopo, Girl Hype has been our sort of like satellite operator. So the chair lady also has programs running in Limpopo under Girl Hype. So we use that as an extension of the chapter to get the information out there and collaborate with them on events. But you highlighted something that I'm passionate about, to make sure that each and every province needs a representative. Each and every province needs a champion, so that at least we have someone who stays in that province who will champion the cause and the needs of those people in that province. Because when I joined the chapter 2 years back, it was primarily Western Cape and Gauteng. We had to work to activate KZN with Mondli. And I heard that you picked something in Limpopo. Jennifer, I'm hoping that we'll work with you to activate Limpopo. We need champions for this. That's why even when this meeting started, I said, God doesn't work with numbers. He works with the people that are here. So in terms of participation, for instance, this session is happening on a Thursday at 10 o'clock till 12. Most of our members, they're either engineers or they're on site or they're installing networks or they're doing this. So it's very hard for us as a chapter to get everybody at an event. But everybody participates in different ways. So people participate either through the forum of the chapter on the website. Some participate on an executive level. Some participate in the chapter by advocating for the chapter in the places where they work. Like we've got chapter members that are in government offices, Office of the Presidency, some are in DCDT, some are in Department of Basic Education, and they advocate for certain things that we do. So don't be disheartened. Yes, Ignatius, I saw your hand. So don't be disheartened with the number of people that you see online, because the chapter is very, very broad and everybody is running around doing things for the chapter. But then these type of engagements, I believe to say that they are important. And you are right, we need to do more of them, for not only for new members, but also for existing members, because you signed up for the chapter, you found out what the chapter is about, but you're still trying to find yourself. And I believe to say that through WhatsApp and through the emails and through engagements like these, we will get to find out more about our new members and existing members. And also, feel free to also say, guys, come to Limpopo. Like, for instance, Amani Good Parenting said, we want to do this. Please, let's maybe get it into the planner of the chapter. If you feel that what you are doing in Limpopo, there's no internet connectivity and what, put it up on the chapter. Contact me as a secretary to say, Kodishang, this is the location, this is the place, this is the challenge that we're facing. Yes, we are working with this organization doing this, but this is a gap that maybe Internet Society can fulfill. So, you know what I mean? So sessions like these, they're going to happen frequently. There's going to be a repeat of this same session happening for the guys in KZN. There's going to be a repeat again happening for the guys in the Western Cape. And funny enough, about this Gauteng session, we've got interest from the Lesotho chapter and the Zimbabwean chapter to share the findings and what came out of this meeting and the video. Because funny enough, as people that live in SADC, our challenges are a bit similar when it comes down to connectivity and pricing of the internet and resources that are available for people to join the digital economy. So we always try to also share findings and research across these different countries because they're not so different to South Africa. Yeah, Ignatius, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Kodishang. And another thank you to the Internet Society chapter with what they're doing. It's a lot of work trying to accomplish what you guys are trying to do, but I understand. But I have a few questions and I think a few pointers that might help with regard to having the internet connection that is required within townships. For example, in my township, there's no access point when it comes to data providers. So everyone has to buy data via Voma or via take shops, via the Indians and everything like that. But then what I was thinking and what I think could help a lot of people with regard to getting closer and getting familiar with what the Internet Society is trying to do, what other organizations are trying to do, is if we have access points that are gonna just expose these organizations and expose what good work you guys are doing. A nexus point always gives the youth, and not only just the youth, but also the other parents, the other people that are in the community involved in whatever is being done there. And another question I would like to ask you, Mr. Katie, is that with regard to the schooling system, the curriculum that the schools have, what ways can we do? What means? What procedures can the Internet Society, me and the people who are part of this chat, what procedures can we do to change, not change, but to modify the curriculum to be much more digitally aware, to be much more technologically advanced? Because when I look at the education system at the moment, it has basic skills that once a child finished schools and finish their matric and everything like that, those skills, they don't necessarily need them in the outside world. We're looking in the era that we're going into. The era we're going into is going to be the fourth industrial revolution. And what I'm asking is basically, can we be able to modify the curriculum that schools are offering to children? Because the skills that are learning at the moment in schools are not helping them out when they're done schooling, when they're done with their university diplomas, their degrees, or whatever courses they're going to pursue. Majority of the world is moving into a digital age. And if we can be able to have a curriculum that is much more digitally focused in enhancing and upskilling the skills that they need. I think that might be a huge game changer, especially us as a country. South Africa as a country, we really need the curriculum to develop and modify, because other countries are leading the way, such as China. You know, they are advancing in AI, they're advancing in technologically equipment and everything. But yeah, not to take a lot of your time, I'm just asking what procedures needed to advance or modify the curriculum, and solution that we can also help with the people that aren't accessible to data is have access points in communities that have curriculums or programs that teach them with whatever organization is busy with the internet, whatever organization is busy with the digital skills that are going to be needed in the coming future. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for that. So I'd say this. Challenges when it comes down to South Africa, they say that 73% of us have internet access, but that's very broad. If you have to define internet access, are you accessing the internet using data packages? Are you accessing the internet using Wi-Fi? Are you accessing it using fiber? Are you accessing the internet at work and so forth? So that thing of internet, the question of internet access, I don't think it's been properly addressed, because it's almost like a blanket statement. Because that, like when I started off, I spoke about internet deserts. There's also internet poverty, where the type of internet you have can still exclude you from economic and learning opportunities. But now I would say, Ignatius, with the young people that are in the chapter, right now I'm sharing a screen for ISSAC Learning, where there are free courses for fundamentals of designing and deploying a computer network, introduction to network operations, advanced network operations courses, and community network readiness assessments, and so forth. These courses are a foundation for you to upskill yourself and find yourself in a position where you can be an internet service provider and deploy community networks on behalf of the chapter. Challenges and internet deserts, you are the guys that know which places have internet deserts or connectivity is poor. So I always say, let's start by upskilling ourselves as members. If you are passionate about community networks and connectivity, go to ISSAC Learning and find related courses on that. If you are passionate about the policies and the laws that govern the internet space in South Africa, go on ISSAC Learning and find the courses for internet governance and so forth. You know what I mean? I think they're over here under self-paced learning. Okay, they also have internet exchange points under here. It should have been moderated in my thing, because it's very hard to learn by yourself about internet exchange points. It should be a moderated course, but it's something I think I'll mention. But then when it comes down to other policy stuff, you can find courses here within ISSAC Learning, from privacy, digital footprints, and so forth. So I would say, start by doing an introspective inspection of your skill sets. Reach out to other chapter members, because this is the power about the chapter that I wanted to mention. The chapter has a lot of members, so you might not find yourself being in a position. Let's say you are in Gauteng, and you want to speed things up. You don't necessarily need to go and study community networks, because in Gauteng there's a lot of guys that finished it. There's a lot of guys that are running ISPs in Gauteng that are chapter members. There's a lot of guys that did the internet exchange stuff, myself included. So you might say, okay, I'll focus on policy and governance and just collaborate with these other chapter members, and we form something so that we can address this particular need of this particular community. Now, also, Ignatius, I think you also mentioned about the curriculums and the schools and the education that we have in South Africa. Like, I think there was an interesting point brought up by Mrs. Zondo from Amani Good Parenting. I'm just also trying to read this thing. Oh yeah, heck, I'll also jump into the comments because I can see Jennifer put some interesting comments there. But then we need to, as much as people are on the fourth industrial revolution, as South Africa, our people are still lacking in digital skills, and our people are still being excluded from digital opportunities. So, as the chapter, we also need to be the champions for building up their foundation, because it's like when you are building a skyscraper, you cannot make a thin foundation at the bottom and stack it all the way up. It's going to fall with the winds. We need to give our people a very strong and thick foundation so that by the time they climb the ladder and go up and upskill themselves in different things in the ICT space, in the internet space, they've got such a strong foundation, their building is strong. They're not going to be taken up by scams or anything like that. But now, coming to the schools, what we have currently in the chapter, we have TechBridge. So TechBridge is actually a program that is targeted at ECDs, early childhood development centers, preschools, primary schools, high schools, second chance learning institutions, TVET colleges, and universities. There are some people that only interact with computers when they get to university. Yes, I said it. In this day and age, there are people that only interact with a computer when they get to university because their form of computing has always been mobile phones. This is camera. Their form of computing has always been mobile phones because it's an accessible device for most people. Starting ranges with the Vodacom kicker at $3.99. So they jump into this technology. So them interacting with the internet and technology has been reduced to this screen and glass. So by the time they get to university where they have to really sit in front of a PC, they struggle with that too. So that's why TechBridge is there. So TechBridge can be a tool that you can use to interact with schools and high schools, early school leavers, and all forms of society. Everybody needs to do it. I have an analogy that I always share at events. When you apply for a driver's license, you have to get your learners. When you get your drivers, when you go for testing at Langlacht, and when you have to pass and everything else, they got systems for that before they give you that driver's license and you can go buy your car. When you go for a gun license, there's tests. You must register yourself at the police station. You must go to the shooting range and practice. When you get this device that is equally as dangerous, more dangerous than a car and a gun, all they want from you is your ID number, your proof of residence. That's it. And they hand you this device that connects you to a world filled with scams and AI and weird things on the internet. And off to the races you go. First mistakes that South Africans do when they get this device, what do? They don't have email addresses, some of them. They'll say, hey, Mchana, I'll email address lapo. Give me your email address so that I can activate my phone. It even gets egregious on the other spectrum where they buy SIM cards that are pre-recorded from spaza shops. You understand? So the digital learning landscape and the work we got for the chapters is very, very, very broad. But we need champions. We need people that will identify communities where we can go in. Like you mentioned, to say that you want to interact with the training and changing the curriculums at schools. I would say that process of adding internet governance and adding the topics that we speak about and the trainings that we speak about into schools, it's a process that's going to take a long time. And in the meantime, let's save all the people that we can. Let's run TechBridge. Let's run initiatives that you guys come up with. if you see that there's an initiative for basic computer literacy that is needed in a certain community, even though it doesn't really touch on the internet side of things, without computer literacy, you're also handicapped by the time you get to use the internet. So we can look into that type of stuff. So I don't know if I answered your questions all together there, Ignatius, but I'm always available on chat and WhatsApp to answer them. I just want to go into the comments quickly. I see here Jennifer wrote, at the GK24 hackathon, this was one of the ideas presented by the participants. This is a great idea component as part of digitizing schools. Oh, okay, cool. So like things like hackathons and whatnot, if I'm again reiterating to say that when you have ideas and they need funding or they need support or they need manpower or they need help in terms of lobbying government and getting these stakeholders on board, reach out to the chapter so that we can help. The resources are there, the people are there. What I could say the chapter for me is lacking is participation from young people that will be on the ground and do things for their own community. I also emphasize to say that when you work for the chapter, we do have ways and forms to provide stipend for travel or whatever we need to do. You're not going to go out on a limb altogether saying you're working for us for free. Where possible, where we can get funding, we do have resources for that. And on that note, let me just minimize this thing. If you have questions, please raise your hand and then I'll give you the floor. But I wanted to also share in this meeting the funding areas for that is available for the Internet Society South Africa chapter. The funding areas that are available for NGOs in South Africa that are doing work streamlined to this, because like I explained, the Internet Society South Africa chapter is not a 501c organization. It is not an NGO. So certain funding programs under Internet Society Foundation, we cannot apply for. We are limited to only apply for chapter admin grant, Internet Governance Forum grant, and Beyond the Net grants. These are all chapter specific grants. This funding area, let me just copy it and put it into the chat so that you can have a look at it also when this meeting concludes and when you have time. Just want to glance at the clock one more time. Okay. We got plus minus 30 minutes left. So I think let's get into the meat and bones of it, the funding areas. So we have the BOLT grant program, which is building opportunities and leveraging of technologies program. We have the resilience grant, which focuses on beefing up existing infrastructure for community networks. You know what I mean? And reconnecting where we connected people because of climate things. I don't know if you guys in the news, you saw what was happening in Los Angeles and the fire. You might find that in these type of situations, the chapter members from New York would go and say, look, we're going to reconnect people with internet for disaster relief purposes so that they can communicate on the ground, stuff like that. So that's the resiliency program. You get also the research grant program for our academic guys that want to run research programs for the chapter and collaborate to further the understanding of the internet and its value. And then you've got the strengthening communities and improving lives and livelihoods program. Let me just blow this up. So that's some of the grants, but coming down, we have the community funding. These are more of your chapter related funds. We've got Beyond the Net grants that offers funding for chapter initiatives. We have the chapter admin fund that keeps the chapter going, paying for the internet, paying for the Zoom licenses and so forth and so forth. Travel of the chapter executives and stuff like that. You have the Internet Governance Forum events grants, and then you have the Global Encryption Day grants that they provide. Now, in terms of infrastructure, Ignatius, this also goes out to you because we were talking about infrastructure earlier. We have grants for connecting the unconnected, sustainable peering, where you do internet exchange points, where it can reduce the cost of internet because now it doesn't have to go from Soweto to Bryanston, Terraco to CCOM to wherever. We can localize our information by having internet exchange points. And then after that, sustainable technical communities where we provide training. But when you come to a grant like the one for connecting the unconnected, you can see the program initiatives about it is to say identifying communities where they need connectivity, developing new innovative solutions to grow internet reach in rural and isolated and low income areas. So they are not excluding townships, even though townships might have connectivity from ISPs that I mentioned, like Voma, Fogfoot, and the rest of them. If that township or community has it's a low income area and they can't afford it, we can still go in and do a program where we can give them affordable internet, underlining the word affordable. It cannot be 100% free unless we find partners and businesses that will say, look, if you're going to make the internet accessibility for these people free, create hotspots and have landing pages, and we can serve adverts that are non-intrusive, and you know what I mean, and we can sort of like pay for the internet that way. So it gives focus areas where you are building complementary access solutions or expanding existing solutions, and who's eligible. You know what I mean? So funding to build and expand. Let me just zoom in a bit more. So it's available to communities and organizations who are directly involved in the planning and building of the infrastructure. Like I said, NGOs and communities can apply for this. So what you just need to identify a person who's going to be carrying out the project for its completion. So, and you need to get buy-in from that community that you're going to be doing this thing and they're going to be benefiting from it. And then you need a sustainability plan to say that after you spend money putting up the infrastructure and the internet, how are you going to sustain it? How are you paying for backhaul? How are you paying for insurance? How you're paying for the network operations center? How are you paying for your staff and so forth? That's where I spoke about innovative things like leveraging through advertisements and leveraging through a subsidized rate where you could go to organizations like Dark Fiber Africa, you could go to Broadband in Franco, you can go to USASA to somehow subsidize the backhaul cost for internet for that community. And then also the goal of connecting local infrastructure to the internet. So when you're building these things for connecting the unconnected, you're not making an intranet, you're connecting people to the internet. So even though you might pair it up with a local internet exchange point, they still need to connect to the internet. So you find that this application is actually open from the 4th of February and it closes on the 31st of March 2025. Again, I will say, when you do projects under the chapter, you are not alone. There are other people. Find people, identify them, collaborate with them. When you are stuck for partners within your community, reach out to me at secretary@internetsociety.co.za, and I will connect you with the people that are nearest to you in your community that are chapter members and have a proven track record, or companies or ISPs working in that environment or project that you want to do. So when it comes to collaboration, I think it's a strength that we have yet to really capitalize on. But I believe going forward in 2025, we're going to see more and more opportunities that open up for collaboration within chapter members and the chapter itself. So if you missed the window of the 4th to the 31st of March 2025, there's a second window in July, the 15th and the 27th of August 2025. I think it's good that they have these two windows so that even if you do want to go back to ISSAC learning to do a course on one of these things, it still opens you up to be able to go back to ISSAC learning and say, you know what, I'm gonna do a course for ISSAC learning so that I can get myself acclimated to these things. So yeah, these are the funding areas. I shared the link in the comments. You can go in and see what are the requirements, when are they open, how much funding they provide, what type of vehicle do you need to be. Again, I'll remind you guys that beyond the net, a chapter admin, internet governance, and encryption day, global encryption day, are all community funding for chapters. The rest of these other programs, you just need to be an NGO or an organization working within that space so that you can access this funding and, of course, match up with the guidelines and policies of Internet Society Foundation, and Internet Society South Africa chapter, so that at least as the chapter from South Africa, we also align and see eye to eye with you, with the project that you're doing, and provide support where we can. But ideally, you'd be running the project with your organization, and we would be sort of like a guiding hand and helping out with certain things where you get stuck between you and the foundation. Yeah, so let me stop the screen sharing there and find out if there's anything else. Now that I mentioned all these things, do we have any questions on the floor? Feel free to ask any question. You can ask about the funding, you can ask about the training. Already some members asked about the communications and how we beef it up, and I'm hoping to say if there's other platforms or means for us to communicate, we can look into that also, so that we get this information out there to the members. And because by extension, by giving it to the members, we're giving it to the communities also that they're in. All of you in this meeting, you are champions for your own communities, your own. Myself, my family's from Tafelkop, Limpopo. So I also feel connected to that place and want to see programs running there. So we are all champions for different areas where we live in the metros that we live, and the rural areas where we have family. So yeah, I'd like to hear from you if you have any other questions or suggestions. All right. Okay. No problem. I'm hoping that the presentation was good enough to cover everything. If not, I'll also put in my WhatsApp number over here. And if you're not part of any group, you can contact me on that WhatsApp so that I can add you to the groups. Before we close, Mondli, I hope you're still there. Maybe would you like to share your vision for KZN in 2025? Mondli, are you there? Okay, folks.
Sorry,
Okay, I
I
see
have
my Claudius coming on. Yeah, if you don't mind, just speaking close to the mic, my Claudius, so that we can hear you, né?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, like last year we got the report cards of how we're performing on doing projects in the chapter. We were number 10. So I think with the start of this year, we can work towards getting a better report card, working as a team and supporting each other. And I like the idea that Gulshan said, collaboration and asking for help is not a solo thing. We need to support each other that we get a deserving report card this year. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else has a suggestion, a comment, a question before maybe we close the session? Okay, so guys, with that, I'd like to thank you for attending the Internet Society South Africa chapter open day for the Gauteng members. The next one is going to be next week, Thursday, for same time, same place on Zoom, with a different link, of course, for the members out in KZN. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mondli, in the nick of time. I was about to close the session, but I think maybe for the benefit of those that are here, can you just maybe share what your thinking and vision is for KwaZulu Natal for 2025? Maybe it might also help inspire us here in Gauteng to, you know, implement some of the things we are doing there here in Gauteng, if possible, or some forms of synergy or collaboration between the learning institutions and stuff like that. So yeah, you got the floor.
Thank you again. Yeah, I think for us in KZN, looking at the collaborations that we've been doing with the universities, the most important one is to actually strengthen the visibility within schools by establishing more of maybe the internet society clubs. Because I remember, I think Jennifer was talking as well, in terms of how can we ensure that there's sustainability within, the work that we are doing, probably if you are working in different provinces. So for the vision is to make sure that we have champions within, the areas, the regions that we are working with by, having those clubs. And then, yeah, I think identifying, even the, disabled or, the other, marginalized groups that are not part and parcel of maybe the projects, and just making sure that they've also become part and parcel of the internet society, framework. We want to grow members as well, which is very, very the key part of the internet society as well. So just growing members from what we have, and then we also just looking at having maybe partners. There's ICT spaces or organizations that are within KZN that are not using facilities that we are engaging with at the moment, because we've seen what, those particular people that have gone to universities not been able to use, technology, or there's still a bit of phobia as well when it comes to, using technology in this current time. Yeah, we are talking to different stakeholders that we want to partner with them. And yeah, also I've embarked on the Internet Society learning platform in the previous years. So there were, good certifications that were done concerning encryption, concerning cybersecurity, and the number of courses. So I became a champion as well of those courses, and it was good. And I've been, featured in different, groups within the global internet society as well. So I feel like very important for young people who are looking to understand what the internet is and how we can advocate for the internet to be transparent, and also, for those who are not connected, to be part and parcel of this. So yeah, more rural collaborations, also speaking to Eastern Cape, which is closer to us as well. So yeah, the focus is schools, more universities, and as well as communities that are looking to connect, on the internet scale as well. And yeah, maybe making sure that as the South African, chapter, we also collaborate with other African countries to just do exchanges. I think in other chapters that if they're doing events, they can invite so that we can learn and how we can steer this forward for the next people as well. And yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Mondli, for sharing that. And yeah, whenever you need help from us in Gauteng, then KZN, let us know. It's how many bus hours right away? Flight is what? 1 hour, 1 hour and a half.
No, bus is 6 hours or 7 hours or 8 hours. I don't know. 6.
And the flight is probably an hour or so. So yeah, no, thank you very
Yeah.
much for joining us. And
Yeah.
again, I'd like to thank everybody in today's session. This recording will be shared on our YouTube. Please make sure before you log off that you add your name and email address at the bare minimal to this chat so that we can at least send you the care package from this meeting, the report that I shared, the annual report for 2024, so that I can share the links and everything else. Your contacts are not going to be shared or disclosed anywhere else. We do believe in POPI, protection of personal information. And also in the same chat, I did share the link on how you can become a member of the chapter. And I also shared the link to the ever important funding areas so that we can go empower communities. So again, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this first annual Internet Society South Africa chapter Gauteng Open Day. And we hope that you have a good day, a great weekend ahead. And let's work together to connect the unconnected and to empower people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, boss.